Her name was Kiyomi. She was a regular third-grade junior high student you might see anywhere. She woke up every morning, and every morning went to school. Yet every now and then, something happened that jolted her out of her normal existence. Love was just the spice her boring life needed. And that was Kiyomi, who led a most boring life. One day, her school club activities went by a little longer than usual, and it was 8 p.m. by the time she was on the way home. Even though it was the middle of summer, the sun was about to go down, and she felt nervous as she walked down the dim, sparsely lit road behind her school. Kiyomi, trembling, hurried along the road home. It was the same road she always took. But that road, in the dim light of night, seemed like an entirely different world to usual. Trying to hide her fear, Kiyomi muttered to herself as she hurried along the street. She must have walked about 10 meters when she noticed something felt off, and she turned around. It was just her imagination. With that, she turned around to start walking again, when footsteps behind her were quietly getting closer. Footsteps. No, perhaps it was too vague to be that. With a start, she turned around again, but nobody was there. Then, when she turned back to the front once more, suddenly a dull pain ran through the back of her head. As her consciousness faded away, she thought she could hear someone laughing. But there was no time to confirm her suspicions, and she fell into a deep darkness. When she came back to, she was lying on a familiar road. It was the road she was on before, the road to school. But something was different about it. Kiyomi tried looking around, but she was in the same spot as before. The back of her head still felt heavy and sore from before. She had to get home, quickly. Her head was filled more with fear than wondering about what had just happened. She ran home as fast as she could. Finally, she could see the lights on by her front door. She breathed a sigh of relief and rang the doorbell. There was no answer. Was her mother not home? She grabbed the doorknob. It was open. It was open, but something had to be going on. But first things first, she had to get inside. That unknown thing from before might attack her again. Kiyomi quickly ran inside and locked the door. Finally feeling a little more relieved, she entered the house. She called out, But there was no answer. Where on earth could she have gone with all the lights still on? Finding it strange, Kiyomi entered the living room. Her mother wasn't there either. Only the table was there, like it had been abandoned. Then, the moment she tried to enter the kitchen, something smelt awful, like it was rotting.
何の匂い?
Before she knew it, she felt sick. But the moment she entered the kitchen, she saw the source of the smell.
お父さん?
Kiyomi was so shocked that she couldn't speak. Then, just as she was about to pass out,
あら、清美。おかえりなさい。
standing behind her was her mother.
お母さん、お父さんが。
But when she saw her mother, she was dumbfounded. In her hand, she gripped a knife. Clumps of dark black blood stuck to it.
おかえりなさい。
Her mother said and smiled.
お母さん。
Looking closer, not only the knife, but her mother's chest was covered in blood as well. Kiyomi shuddered, and her face went stiff with fear at her smiling mother.
こんな時間までどこでほっつき歩いていたの?
Her mother, looking strange, asked her,
ごめんなさい。部活で遅くなっちゃって。
Kiyomi answered the best she could.
門限を破る悪い子にはお仕置きしなきゃね。
Holding the knife, her mother slowly approached her.
お父さんは何も言わずに外でご飯を食べてきちゃったの。
Smiling, her mother pointed at her father. His stomach lay open like a cave. It wasn't just a stab. It had been stabbed over and over. His insides hung out on the ground.
あなたにも
Kiyomi had no idea who the person standing in front of her was. But if she stayed there, she'd die. With that on her mind, she desperately ran. Kiyomi screamed as she ran. Her gentle mother and father who slightly scared her when he got mad. Kiyomi loved her family. What she saw just now wasn't them. She exited the house and ran as fast as she could. She even forgot to put her shoes on. Kiyomi ran barefoot across the asphalt. Small rocks stabbed her feet, causing intense pain, but there was no time to worry about that. She ran desperately, crying all the while. She must have run for close to 10 minutes. She should be okay now. Her face was a mess of sweat, tears, and mud. Breathing deeply, she fell to her knees, her face a mess.
お母さん、なんで?
Tears began to fall again. Her kind mother. Just remembering her covered in blood, she felt she might lose her mind. Suddenly, something fell. What was it? She couldn't tell what had fallen in the darkness. It was something roughly the size of a soccer ball. She reached out to pick it up. It was a severed head, blood pouring from its mouth, an eye popped out. She thought it might be from a doll, but it was too real. As one might expect, Kiyomi passed out and fell to the ground. She heard her mother's voice.
申し訳ございません。では、尽くしたのですが。
なんでこんなことに。
Her mother broke down in tears. Kiyomi lay on a white bed, her face and body covered in injuries. On her way home from school, Kiyomi had been attacked and then taken to hospital. They tore off her clothes and discovered countless bruises and scratches all over. She was covered in blood and other bodily fluids.
奇跡的に一命は取り留めました。が、脳の神経部に重大な損傷があったらしく。
Hearing the doctor's explanation, her mother and father fell into the depths of despair. She was a vegetable. Kiyomi breathed in and out, over and over. Would she be able to go on living? And what would she dream about for the rest of her life?